guys, welcome to Thursday Therapy. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Mia Garrett. I am a licensed clinical social worker and director of Village Life Therapy. I created Village Life as a safe space for us all to learn and practice the skills of mental wellness. So I've always thought of mental wellness, mental health. Hey guys, coming in. Hey y'all. I've always thought of mental wellness or mental health as a set of skills. And my purpose in life is to un what's the word? Release this set of skills from environments that they're traditionally found in, like hospitals or doctors' offices or even therapist offices, and make the tools that you need for mental wellness more accessible. Because to be honest, it all starts in the office, right? We love our therapists, we love our doctors, we love those avenues for help, but what happens when you need a little maintenance? What happens when you're not ready to go to the doctor's office or you're not ready to talk face to face with someone, right? That's what Village Life is all about, because we can create our own safe spaces to learn and practice the skills of mental wellness. Our relationships are those spaces. Our workplaces are those spaces. We can do that for ourselves. This is one of those spaces. So I'm so glad you're here. You are my village. Thank you. I think it's the light. I have this light shining on me, and it's making me like shiny in these places. So I appreciate the glow. I'm here for it for sure. So, if you guys have been joining Thursday Therapy for about the last month, we've been really digging into triggers. I think that triggers is a topic that we can talk about for a very long time. And for me as a clinician, I don't like to hop from subject to subject, even though my Gemini mind wants to do that. But I want us all to really get how to interact with our triggers so that we can take control and make our life experiences more enjoyable. That's really what life is all about, aligning with our best version to have our best relationships, our best experiences, living our best life. Okay, Lil Duval? All right. So today we are discussing how our responses to our triggers is an act of self-love. And I don't know if you guys caught Will Smith. He has this amazing video on his Instagram. It's old now. You can find it on YouTube as well. But he is talking about how discipline is an act of self-love. And then Jada, his wife, follows up with how boundaries are an act of self-love. And so it really had me considering, when we are doing what's best for ourselves, especially when we're triggered, how powerful it is to think about that as an act of self-love, right? And how being aligned with our best experiences, hey Jamil, is something that we create for ourselves. And we create that through the way that we respond to all things, but in particular, how we're responding when we're triggered. And I also like to think as triggers, as I am and as we are learning and practicing these skills, I like to think of triggers as opportunities, right? So we are always, our growth and who we say we are is always going to be challenged by our life experiences, right? So if I say that I'm a person who practices unconditional love, which I absolutely am and I absolutely do, that is going to be challenged over and over and over again. It's like the universe continuously gives us opportunities to show ourselves true, right? And so triggers are always an opportunity to practice the skills that we're learning, to express ourselves as the version that puts us first. You got to put you first. That's something that my dad taught me or tried to teach me long time ago when I was just a little girl, and on throughout young adulthood, his mantra for life is put yourself first. But honestly, guys, I did not get that until very recently. Very recently, as I started to have more just life experiences that challenged my people pleasing behavior, my enabling behavior. I was under the impression that helping others with complete disregard to myself was a good thing. Sacrificing my peace of mind for the comfort of others was a good thing. Yeah, it's good until, you have a mental breakdown, or you become depressed or full of anxiety, or you don't want to go home and you're sitting in your car trying to figure out how you're going to walk through the door. Things come up when you're not living in alignment with your best self and putting yourself first. I love it. Y'all are already engaging. We off and running today. Get used to my singing, guys. Stephanie says, absolutely, we will be tested on the skills we are learning in life. Amen, sister. But we have to remember that A is not the only passing grade. B minus through D is acceptable too. So true. And I like to say, forgive yourself quickly. When you say, okay, I'm not going to cuss anybody out today. That's my intention for the day, is to use words of kindness. You guys know I'm all about setting intentions at the beginning of the day. If I cuss out one person, maybe I used one curse word, a damn slipped out, or I'm not taking this shit no more came out, I can give myself a C minus for that, or even a C plus, because usually it sounds a lot different than that. Usually it's a lot more curse words. We got to celebrate those small victories and understand that change is a process. Change goes through many stages, and it's a circle. You don't just go from thinking about change to planning for change to experiencing change and then changed. You go back to thinking about changing a little bit, and then back to thinking about changing at all, and then planning for change and back to thinking about change, and then making some changes and back to thinking about change. So it is a back and forth that you should expect from yourself. And please don't be hard on yourself. Forgive yourself quickly, and celebrate the small victories. Amen. I need to start putting myself first all the time. Sacrificing your everything for everyone will kill you. Yes, it will. It will kill you. It will make you experience depression. It will cause you anxiety. You won't want to engage in the relationships that you should be engaging with. Like the relationships that you have in your home, the relationships that you have in your workplace, the relationships you have at church. Putting others first will deter you from interacting with them, because you're afraid that you're going to have to give them something that you don't want to give, even if that's just your energy. It's like, shoot, I don't have the energy to deal with these people today and give them something I don't have. And we will drain ourselves doing that. Hey, everybody coming in. Hey. Yes, a process. Peace queen. Peace king. I am a yes person. NY Glass says I am a yes person. I don't know why. I guess for people to like me, to help others, so I can appear to be a good person, but it definitely drains you and makes you have a different feeling of that person. Yes, people pleasing is a draining process, but it's also ingenuine. Is that the word, ingenuine? It's also not the best way to express yourself. It's not really a self-expression, being a people pleaser or being a yes person. It's, I was listening to this guy that I love following. His name is Preston Smiles. He had disingenuous. Thank you, girl. Vocabulary words. Disingenuous. He had an IGTV video that talked about how people pleasing can sometimes be a selfish act, even because you want people to like you. Want something in return. You're not doing it just from the center of your soul. You're not doing it because it's really what you want to do. You're doing it because you want something in return, even if that's just to control people's thoughts about you. Hello, my name is Mia, and I have been addicted to other people's thoughts about me. I have been. I have tried to control that with my bubbly exterior, and people just kind of gravitate to me, and I never want them to see any other side than that. And I am so dynamic. I have so many different expressions of myself. I've always been afraid to let some of them out because I'm addicted to thinking about what others are thinking about me. Gotta put yourself first in order to release those things. Okay, let's see. People pleasing is an emotional disease. Yes, Stephanie. BLC New York is Stephanie, if you guys hear me chatting with her. That was most likely inherited. Saying no to others allows you to say yes to yourself. Absolutely. And it's so interesting. Thank you for bringing up inheritance, because in the last Therapy Thursday, you and I were discussing how bullying, your parents are your first bully. And parents have this way of using shame to get us to behave in the way that they want us to behave. And when they do that, they cause us to not want to engage in those feelings and think that we can keep ourselves safe by saying yes to others, by showing up in the behavior that we think others want to see. That way, we don't have to experience shame and guilt, right? But we go home depleted, absolutely drained. And that is what I want us to learn how to grow out of. How do you train yourself to put yourself first? I think that, thank you so much for that question. I think that the first step is to know yourself and know what you want. Who are you in this game of life? When you get quiet, what is your spirit saying to you? What types of experiences do you want for yourself? I am a huge believer in imagination and imaginative play, right? So when we were little, we loved to make believe and play dress up, and we had all this time to daydream. And as we grew older, we were told that we weren't supposed to do that anymore. However, that's where magic happens, and that is where we learn what we want for ourselves. And so, step one is to know what you want for you. Know what it is that makes you feel good and what makes you feel bad. A few Thursdays ago, we talked about assessment and rhythm and understanding, how we live life on a day-to-day basis, and taking little assessments, asking ourselves a few questions a day to just kind of see where we are, see what we've been doing, and then go back over those answers to evaluate what we're doing with our time and if we like it and what our emotions are doing and if that is pleasing to us, if we feel in alignment with the things that we want for ourselves and need to feel good. And if you're not, switch it up. If you notice that every time your mom calls you, that you start to feel a little anxiety, you start to feel like a pullback, like, oh, I don't really want to talk to her. Evaluate, look at the relationship and see what areas of it you're needing to use your no. Also, putting yourself first is about not being ashamed to say no, not feeling bad about saying no. You can stand in your no and it not be disruptive to someone else's entire reality. They will figure it out. That's one thing I really had to learn, is that people will figure it out when you say no. They really will. So that is the beginning of training yourself to put yourself first. The other thing that you can do is to train your mind by using mantras and affirmations to say, I am worthy of first place in my life. I am worthy of first place in my life. And when I say first place, I mean first before your children, first before your mother, first before your man, first before everyone, because you cannot fill anyone with an empty cup. I can't mother well if I'm depleted. I know that about myself. I have 3 boys that drive me nuts 90% of the day, but I love it. But if I don't take time to take care of myself, and to say no to them. Listen, mommy is cooking dinner right now. I can't hold you. Or mommy is reading. You read too. Setting them up to understand that womanhood is not synonymous with servitude. I need them to get that. Let's see. Mika said, lack of expectation of reciprocity. Exactly. People pleasing. Powerful. Thank you, Khadijah. Yes. I'm sorry, I'm kind of behind with the comments. The power of imagination. Yes, ma'am. I'm here for imagination. Know what you want for you. Yes. I guess I haven't learned myself completely just yet because I'm always putting others first and I haven't really looked in the mirror to understand myself. Completely understandable. I pretty sure that you are still very young, like early 20s, and don't be hard on yourself that you don't know yourself, because every day I'm learning something new about me, and I'm 33. It's a journey. It's a path that you're walking. You don't just wake up in the morning and say, oh, here I am knowing myself. I know everything about myself, especially in your early 20s, because you're just coming out from under your parents' rule. And so really now is the time to start to get to know yourself in your early 20s. And I know you just became a mother as well. And so make sure that you're about to be 23. Yes, being a grown up. So make sure that you start to practice these things now. Hey, Amber. Make sure you start to practice these things now so that as your child grows older, you can teach him how to be in relationship with you. I think a lot of times as parents, we forget that we are in relationship with our children, and we are teaching them how to be in relationship with others by the relationship that we are having with them. And so when we are raising these, especially men, I have all boys, I know you have a boy, when we are raising our children, we need to remind them that it's not all about you. Sometimes I need space and I need time and I need to take care of myself so that I can take care of you. That is a very powerful lesson to teach our children early in life. Stephanie says, ask yourself, what's your history with no? Great. Where did your relationships with boundaries begin? Who taught you that standing in your no was a bad thing? Get to the root and stop cutting off the branch. Absolutely. Get to the root of when no became a dirty word. Why is no a dirty word for us? Why are we in places, ladies and gentlemen, why are we in places where it is so difficult for us to say no? Because I think that this is not only difficult for us, but we don't even really want to look at it. It's just like, just something we should do. We should just say yes and take care of others and put them first, when that's unhealthy. It's unhealthy for us. And don't be afraid to look at your history. Don't be afraid to backtrack into your experiences and even write them down. Sometimes I have my clients make lists. Make lists of your past experiences, the ones that you can think of, where you wanted to say no, but you didn't. And the first step is to just make the list, make the raw list, right? Just write as many things, let your memories and your experiences flow onto the paper in list form. And then go back to them and try and remove the emotional coloring, right? So try to remove your anger and your sadness and your fear. Try to remove that and see just what was there. Just see what was there at the raw foundation of the experience. So this could be like, I said no to my husband who was asking for sex, right? He was asking for sex and I did not want to. My body was not primed for it. I had a headache. I was tired, whatever it is. Hey, Zaire, whatever your reasons, when you go back to that experience, I can say I felt violated because he kept asking. I felt annoyed because he just wouldn't stop, and men have different needs from women, and we're not going to go into all of that, but I can remove the emotional coloring, my annoyance and my anger from it, and get to the essence of the experience and say, okay, what was really there? He wanted to engage in something that I did not. We were not on the same wavelength. We weren't on the same vibration. We didn't have the same energy. What happened next? I felt obligated to meet his needs because I'm his wife. What does that mean for me? Let me challenge it. Am I obligated to meet his needs because I'm his wife? Those are the type of questions. And then get real with myself. Do I really believe that or not? And if I do believe it, am I willing to keep doing that? And is that a reflection of self-love? Am I putting myself first? If I don't believe that I'm obligated to meet his sexual needs when he asks, then I can work that out. I can say, I'm not obligated to meet his sexual needs just because he asks. And so now I can say to myself, it's okay to say no. I can say no. I've challenged the belief. I was able to get to the root belief that drives the yes when I want to say no, right? Okay, let's go back up. Okay, what's your history? Amen to that about the children. Yes, ma'am. These boys gonna know, okay? They're gonna learn. Amber says, it's hard for me to say no. Look, I like Stephanie's comments. Yes, me too. I love having her in the room. And when I do, people say that I'm being mean. See? It's the guilt and the shame. That is a game that people play. And when we recognize it and confront it, it doesn't have any power over us. If we know, just look at your childhood. And if you didn't feel like playing with somebody, you were being mean, right? If you didn't feel like going outside, that was mean. You were rejecting someone else. If you didn't follow your parents' directions, you were being unruly and disobedient. It's all of these negative characteristics that are applied to us in our no. But when we recognize the game of you're being mean, you don't care about me, or you don't care. Somebody said, if you don't do something, a certain something for your children, that means that they're not a priority in your life. Who is allowed to label you? Who is allowed to label your actions? Ask yourself, who is allowed to label me mean? When I do so much for others because I genuinely love them and genuinely want to, and when I say no, then I'm mean. Who are they to call me mean? I know I'm not a mean person. I'm one of the nicest people that I know. And Amber, you are one of the nicest people that I know. And so challenge people, even if you challenge it within yourself, challenge that crazy mess that they're saying to you. Don't allow people's ideas about your behavior come through into your psyche. Don't let it penetrate through your mind space, into your mind space, into your heart space, into your soul space. Those are sacred spaces. Don't let them in there. Don't let their words in. Period. Oh, I'm mean now? Careful, because you're about to lose access. Stephanie had a great affirmation. I am okay with being people's consequence for crossing my boundaries. Totally fine with it. Taking myself away. Let's see, no is a dirty word because others told us it was. We have to be okay with the unlearning of our childhood agreements. Being not nice for women is such a difficult thing. Nice for what? I hear you, girl. Nice for what? Especially, I'm not going to be nice to you and ugly to myself. That's what we have to stop doing. Don't be good for others and then bad for self, because that is an erosion of self. You're just going to keep chipping away at yourself, giving away all your pieces. When the whole you shows up in a room, everybody benefits from that, even when they don't see the benefit. That too. All right, let's see. Kim says, for my parents and older adults, especially in church, make me feel like no means I didn't forgive. Like if I know a certain person, my husband's mom, makes me feel anxious, and when I say no, or if I ignore a phone call that day or decline an invite to be around her, I feel bad. But that your boundaries are you in action taking care of yourself. In action, that is you loving yourself. Like it's me not forgiving, but truly I do forgive her, but I still want to protect my energy and space. Exactly. And now you know through experience that her presence can be very disruptive to your space, to your joy, to your peace, and you are allowed to protect that space. Stephanie says, part of the problem is that people aren't okay with being uncomfortable or making others uncomfortable. Yes, in order to live this life fully, we have to embrace disappointing people and their expectations. Who cares that people label you mean? You know that you're not. Emotional manipulation is too real. Say it again, louder for the people in the back. Emotional manipulation is so real. And people who know us the best and people who say they love us the most will use all of their information about us against us to get their own needs met. Know that. Know that. Don't allow thoughts of others to be your GPS, guided personal source. I know that's right. Exactly. I feel like it's a curse to say no. Even with my stepmom, she makes me feel like I have to say yes because she has helped me out with a lot of things, and even my baby father, I feel like no is not an option. I've been working on forgiving and letting her go, but also I don't want to feel bad for not wanting to be around a person that brings me down. Don't feel bad. And don't let other people manipulate you because they've done things for you, because they've supported you in the past. This is what our relationships are for. We are here to support one another. And if your support comes with a price tag, know what the cost is before you make the decision to accept that support. And it sucks to have to even have that conversation with others. Okay, what is this going to cost me? Let's be real. Am I going to be able to be a whole person with you? And you don't even have to have a conversation for that. You can just evaluate people's actions. If you said yes to me and then I said no to you, how is that going to affect our relationship? And also, we have to be very careful with understanding reciprocity. Reciprocity is not one-to-one. Reciprocity is not you watch my kids on Monday, I'll watch your kids on Tuesday. Reciprocity could mean you watched my kids on Monday, I invite you to dinner on Friday because I cooked a big meal and I know you don't cook on Fridays. That could be reciprocity. Reciprocity could mean you watch my kids on Monday, I stayed up an extra hour to talk to you on the phone because that's what you needed in the moment. That can be reciprocity. So be careful with people's ideas about play for play. Pay for play or pay for play? Quid pro quo. Quid pro. Y'all, words are not my friend today. Saying no in the workplace labels you a bitch. Yes. Difficult and not a team member. Yes, it does. And can we talk about being a woman in the workplace, especially in corporate, and how we are expected to be soft, sweet, kind, docile, and secretaries, even in higher positions. And I'm not going to say that just men do this in the workplace. Powerful women will do this to other women who are trying to come up as well. And so using your no can be a powerful act of self-love in the workplace to say, That's not my trajectory today. Those are not my intentions. No, I'm sorry, I have a lot on my plate. I have a lot on my plate today, and I'm not going to be able. Is there anyone else that we can assign this task to? Because I have a lot going on today. And you can always say no in ways that disarm others and don't make them become defensive, but that's not something that you can always control. So just love yourself and be true to your own character. And if you are triggered in the workplace by having to say no and then getting backlash from it, be very aware of that in those moments, because your trigger could make you respond in a way that's not true to yourself. Your trigger could make you respond in a way that diminishes or is not in alignment with the best version of yourself. Remember, triggers are challenges. Triggers are opportunities for us to show up as who we say we are. And so don't let anybody take your power in that way and make you show up any way other than who you are, who you're striving to be. I need to start being more strict with others. I'm too nice to everyone, and even to ones that do me wrong or hurt me. I need to get away from negative energy, especially since I have my son. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's not about being strict on others. It's just switch your perspective just a little bit and put it onto yourself and say, how can I love myself through my interactions with others? What is an act of love when I'm putting up a boundary? Right? So if someone with negative energy comes into my space, instead of focusing on their negative energy and removing that negative energy from my space, how can I turn that focus back onto myself and say, what can I do in this situation now? Do I need to leave? Do I need to go into my bedroom? Do I need to ask this person to leave? Hey, I have some errands to run. Let's walk out together. It just depends on what is working best for you. Forgiveness has nothing to do with continued interaction. Self-preservation includes dismissal. Be the consequence of toxic behavior. Yes, I'm okay with being the consequence. And I really and see, I've always had this thing about not cutting people off. And I think that I've said the waffle, I see myself in the middle of a large waffle, and there are squares that are close to me, and there are squares on the outer skirts of the waffle. And I may not necessarily cut you off, but I will move you from my inner circle to the outer circle. You know what I'm saying? So you might not have the same access to me that you once did. You might not be able to come over to my house and bring your toxic energy. You may not be able to get me on a phone conversation and experience your toxic energy. You might get a text from me that says, hey girl, just checking on you. Hope everything is okay. Sending you love, light, and positive vibrations. But that's the outer circle. See, everybody has their levels of influence that work both ways, depending upon where you are in the circles of life, of your life, of my life, but you are at the center. Saying no and meaning it feels good as hell. Yes, it does. Saying no and meaning it does feel good. Now, we don't use no as a weapon. Right? We don't use no to be emotionally manipulative like other people, right? We definitely want to use our no's in ways that empower us and others. We don't want to do it just because we can and just because, just to put up walls. We don't want to put up walls that say you cannot have access to me because I can say no to you. But you want to say no in a way that's empowering, like I said, to yourself and to others. Kimani, get off my live with your comments. I often ask my clients, what experience do they have saying the actual word no? Often not much. So I give the homework assignment to look yourself in the mirror and practice saying no to yourself. Yes. I've never done that before. That is an excellent exercise. Look in the mirror and practice saying no to yourself. I don't even know what that feels like. That would be incredible. Also, there are different ways to say no. No, thank you. Nah, absolutely not. I'll pass. If you're uncomfortable with the actual word no, try these. My clients say these help. That is an excellent, excellent technique, intervention, skill set. How many ways can you say no? There's some homework. How many ways can you say no? Other than no, other than no. And not maybe later, because that's not no. That keeps the door open, right? And if you do want to keep the door open, is there a middle ground? Is that okay? Is to say, hey, not right now. Maybe another time. This is not good for. This doesn't work for me. I love that one. This doesn't work for me. Why not? This doesn't work for me. When somebody comes to you with the why not, well, why can't you come? It's just not a good fit. I love that one too. This is not a good fit. The more you use the word no, the easier it gets. As women, we are expected to be givers, providers, nurturers, right? But as an individual, we need to take care of ourselves. It is so easy to get wrapped up in other people's lives, yes, and other people's needs, other people's desires, and other people's thoughts of us, perspective, images that they hold in their own mind. In Why Glass Glass, that is something that I'm constantly battling, is other people's images or reality or experiences of me in their minds. And it's like, hold up. That's not who I am. That's not the life that I'm living. That's not the experience that I want. So that's not a good fit. That's not me. You thought, but it's okay, because we're here to work this out together. See, the relationship is the space where we can practice some of these things. When the opportunity comes up, stay aware of the trigger and practice the new skill. Let's see. You and BLC New York be always on point. That's why I like having her here. My girl Stephanie, she is always with it. I love this message. Thank you, Zaire. Thank you, me as a gym. She brings out my best. Yes, girl. It's us. Kimani, I never tried to do anything with anyone in the workplace. It's all about work. It's not about being respectable in the workplace. And that's the problem with men in the workplace. You know how I am, Mia. If I deal with you, I deal with you. Even though we don't speak often, we know where one another stands in each other's life. Kimani, tell me more. I like where you're going with this. Tell me more about being in the workplace. The problem with men in the workplace is that it's not about being respectable. Why would you not show up with your respect for others in the workplace? And why is work separate from respectability? Those are my questions for you, bro. I hope you're still on. Darkest says, of course not, but saying yes can sometimes be crippling. It absolutely can. I need to do that. See, I'm trying to be serious and you want to dismiss me. I'm not dismissing you, bro. I'm kind of late with my comments, y'all, because I talk a lot in between. So I want to make sure that I'm getting everybody in here. I feel like I need to close some doors with people. It's draining. Yes. And you know what else you can do? And what it's okay to do is to take some time to evaluate where you are with things and take a break from the relationship. It is totally okay to hit pause on your relationships. And you can explain to people that, hey, I just need to take a little time to myself. Don't be alarmed if you don't hear from me for the next couple of weeks. It's about me. I'm just trying to take care of myself, and this is the best way. So if I don't respond, don't be alarmed. That is, it's okay. You're not going to destroy your relationships by taking care of yourself. We think we're going to lose something or miss out on something when we are taking care of ourselves, but we're not. We're only going to have better, enhanced, more enjoyable relationships. That's it. That's going to be the product of you putting yourself first. But you have to be brave enough to do it too. You got to be brave enough to put yourself first and deal with other people's bullshit. Deal with you're mean, or this is so unlike you. Why are you acting like this? The shock and awe of it all. It's okay. I'm just trying out some new things. I'm trying out this thing called self love, and it's going to be great. It's working out really well for me. Just let people know what you're doing, and then it's okay to push pause if you can. Now, tell me if you're living with this person that you may need to press pause on the relationship. Your no had a period or an exclamation mark, not a comma. You don't have to follow your no with an explanation if you don't want to. Explanations open the door for others to begin negotiations. So true. So true. Now, I think that if you really do feel like there is an opportunity to do what someone is asking you to do at a later time, it's okay to say not right now. But if your no is no and they ask why, it's just not a good fit for me. Why? It's not. Moving on. Let's just change the subject. It's just not. This is just no for me. This is a no for me. It's not in alignment with what I'm trying to do right now. I mean, that can be as little as washing dishes at someone else's home. Hey, can you hit them dishes for me? No. Because you've asked me, every time I'm here, you're asking me to clean your house. Every single time. And no, I can't do that right now. But I will be here to talk to you as you clean your own house. I can sit here and talk to you for the whole time. It's very important to stand in your self-love. It's very important for you to be firm and not negotiate. I love that word, Stephanie. Not negotiate with how you treat yourself and how you express your self-love. It's my baby's father. I guess it's my fault why I'm letting things still go the way it is. I do need a break. I went through a lot with him during my pregnancy and a little before. So if it's your child's father, and you're not in the home with him, then yeah, definitely it's okay to press pause on the relationship. Even if it's not a breakup. You don't have to break up with someone to press pause on the relationship, or to just take time for yourself, and since he is the father of your child, there's going to have to be some type of communication so that he can have access to his baby. However, it doesn't have to be what it's been. It can be whatever feels good to you that is within reason of him having access to his child. And you can explain to him, hey, I just need to take care of myself. I really do. And I love you and I honor you. You are the father of my child, but I just need to focus on me for a little while. So if I don't text back immediately, don't take it personal. If I don't return your phone calls immediately, if you have a question about, our child, then just put it in the text. And I'll get back to you as soon as I can, but just put whatever your boundaries need to be, and look over your past experiences to identify where boundaries need to be put into place, right? So this could be the very last experience you had with him where you just felt really bad. Where you left the situation feeling drained and depleted. Drained and depleted is a very, very good indicator that you are in need of a boundary, or that you are in need of taking care of yourself more. Feeling drained and depleted is a signal for a need to take care of yourself. So just look back over the last experience where you felt drained and say, well, what could I have done? How could I have used my no in order to make this experience more balanced? Make this experience one that benefited both of us and was not so one-sided. Let's see. Stephanie says, if you want to know who benefited the most from your lack of boundaries and not knowing how to say no, just pay attention to who gives you the most pushback and has the most visceral reaction. So true. People are so shocked. No? You're not going to do that for me? You always do that for me. What is different? What has changed? Where are we now? What is this? What is this no? Why would you say no to me? You know, even if it's a don't speak to me that way, your no can say, please don't speak to me that way. That's something that my dad and I, you know, he's so used to being able to just say whatever he wants, however he wants, to his very, very sensitive daughter. Especially coming up, that was an area of contention for us, is how he approached me with his information or his requests. And now that I'm an adult and I say, please don't speak to me that way, you do not have to take that tone with me. You know, we are engaging in a conversation, and it's okay. And I understand that you have emotion behind this, but, you know, let's find new ways to communicate. You know, maybe take a breath and come back to me later. Or if I'm on the phone, hey, I'm going to call you back. Let's take a break. I'll give you a call back, and then we can discuss this. You know, but just putting up your boundaries where you know by looking at your experiences that you're triggered and you're being drained and your boundaries are being crossed. This is where self-love comes in. I'm still learning myself and growing. Yes, you are. And it's a journey. Like I was saying before, you know, knowledge of self is not something that happens overnight. And a lot of times we are confused at what knowledge of self is. I think that we are getting much, much better as a community in defining knowledge of self, because I know when I was your age, it was understanding the history of blackness, you know, understanding ancient Kemet, and we weren't just slaves, we were kings and queens, and we had empires, and we began civilization, and all of that is valuable. Don't get me wrong, it's very valuable. But the definition of knowledge of self has just evolved for me. Knowledge of self means I know what moves me, what makes me angry. I know what saddens me. I know what it feels like to sit with my emotions. My emotions and I are friends. I get along with them now. I am not afraid to speak my mind. I know what it takes, what type of pep talk I need to give myself in order to get something done that I may have fear around. I understand my needs and my wants and my goals and desires. I understand, I don't know, what I'm like when I'm tired and hungry. I understand what life is like when I'm not on my game, when I'm not on my A game, and I know what my A game looks like. That's knowledge of self, is exploring. Also, even to go deeper, knowing yourself is knowing what beliefs are serving you and which are not, and where they came from. Who taught you that? Who taught you to believe that women are not allowed to say no? Who taught you to believe that your children come before your own well-being? Who taught you that being strong in relationships means taking every fucked up thing that a man could do to you? Who taught you that? Who modeled that for you? Who modeled that cussing and screaming and fighting and arguing? Who modeled that version of romantic relationships for you? You know, and being real with that and saying, do I still want to be that? Do I still want to experience that? Do I still want those beliefs and thoughts to uphold my behavior? Do I still want them driving my behavior? And sometimes sorry guys, a lot of times, even though I put my phone on do not disturb, it still rings. I am trying to be more technologically savvy. So if you guys have advice for how to use do not disturb on an iPhone where somebody cannot call in, please let me know. But I was saying that you want to identify which of your beliefs are driving the behaviors that you no longer want to engage in. And when you uproot the belief and replace it with something that does serve you, and you get to decide, that's the great thing about being an adult, is that you get to decide what you believe now. And it is a very painful process to unlearn or uproot things that we've been taught since the womb, since childhood, since you were in your mother's womb and you were listening to what was going on in the environment outside. That's when these things start. Since we were in the womb and your mother was eating certain foods that did or did not agree with you and your development. So there is a painful process of unlearning and uprooting these beliefs that don't serve you anymore. But at the end of it, it's so worth it because you replace it with the things that do serve you. And then you go through life with behaviors and new experiences, and new people start to show up because your energy changes. Your vibration aligns with the best version of yourself, and the best version of yourself has some really dope experiences waiting for you. It really, like, you have to believe that wholeheartedly, that when you show up as the best version of yourself, even if just in the moment, your experiences are going to show up in their best version too. And that is something that really keeps me going when I'm challenged through triggers or through other people's beliefs about what I'm supposed to be and how I'm supposed to show up in their lives. Darkest said 33 and still learning. Yes, ma'am. Your new boundaries make those around you feel as though they're in mourning. They lost the person they know, and they begin to wonder where they will fit in with the new you. There's layers to this. It's so incredibly layered, and that is so true. Me too, Stacey. We're not the same person we were at 18, 21, 25, and 30. We keep evolving. And isn't it an exciting process? I don't know about y'all, but after I graduated into my 30s, this process of learning myself has become really enjoyable. Now I get to play around with expressions and beliefs that I like and I don't like. Y'all, I was wearing a belly shirt the other day. Like, I had my whole stomach out, and I didn't even wear my stomach out when I was in my 20s. And, you know, after 3 boys, I'm proud of this stomach. I'm like, look, it's cute and flat and looks nice and smooth, and I'm gonna show this thing off, you know. So you get to play with that, and you are grown. And so it is, for me, because I've been on this path, it becomes easier and easier and easier to be true to yourself. And it becomes more and more fun. And when someone challenges you, like I had to tell my dad when I had on a pair of cut up shorts, and it's always about clothing with men. Why are you wearing that? Where are you going? Thank you, but no thank you on the policing of my body. You know, why are you wearing them shorts? Because I'm 33. And that's, he's like, oh, you're 33. Exactly. I couldn't wear them when I was 15. I couldn't wear them when I was 22. So they're on this body right now at 33. Woo, you right up in my life right now. Yes, girl. He hasn't got himself together yet, and I'm trying to be supportive and loving, and he hasn't given me nothing. Laugh out loud. But I have done a lot for him as a girlfriend, and it's not good because I do deal with depression. And see, the thing about being a woman who is connected to a man and wanting to be his support system and his foundation and his rock and his queen, we have beliefs about what that role is. And so I want you to look into your belief systems about what it means to be a girlfriend. What it means to be a girlfriend, what it means to be a fiance, what it means to be a wife, what it means to be a life partner. What does it mean at its different stages? And are you ready to uphold that definition of what a girlfriend does, what a wife does, what a fiance does? Do you know yourself well enough? Do you understand your yeses and your nos well enough? You have to be ready for a position like that, because you get to decide what it means, and then he gets to decide if it aligns with his definition. But you don't have to set your definition by someone else's belief system. You set your definition by your own belief systems. But again, it goes back into, what do you know about yourself? How well do you know yourself? What do you want out of life? And suffering with depression, you know, I saw this meme. Thank you so much for sharing that. I saw this meme the other day that said depression is our way of telling ourselves that we are tired with living out our identities it has worn us down. And that's what will happen when you don't put yourself first. And I know you just had a baby also, and so your hormones can be in formation to make you feel depressed. So let's talk after a little bit about that, because that is real for new mothers. I don't know if people really understand how overwhelming it is to be a new mom and manage the relationships that were showing up in all of their dysfunction, when you were pregnant, before you had a baby to take care of. Let's see, exciting. Yes, exciting. 30s feel good. We have wisdom, we have more confidence, we know what we like, right? We know what we don't like. We know a lot of times how to express ourselves, how to speak our truth. Now, speaking my truth is something that I am still working on, ever working on, is understanding how to speak my truth. Agree. It is exciting. It is an exciting time to be aware and alive. Show that belly girl. Show that belly girl. Yes, such a great hour this was. Yeah, this was amazing because I'm grown, right? Also, I'm reading you guys' comments. Also, I need to think about what I want to do and what I need. Absolutely. And I have a couple of different tools, some guided journals and workbooks, that one of them is called Best Self. It's available on my website, villagelifetherapy.com. And I think that might be, it absolutely is accessible through the link in my bio. It comes up with like maybe 5 or 6 different links. And if you just click on my website, or you can click on free session, and I can send that to you. But Best Self is a tool of self-discovery. It asks you the questions to develop a vision for yourself. Because a lot of people, we don't take the time out to actually identify what our best version looks like. What does our best version feel like? What time do they wake up in the morning? How do they interact with others? What does my greatest romantic relationship look like? What does my best relationship with my parents look like? What kind of mom am I? What kind of sister am I? At my best version, right? And it's not about people pleasing. The journal asks you not to just think about this from another person's perspective. This is about how you show up in your own life. Okay, so I'll make sure that you get one of those. Our job as women in a relationship is not to be a man's emotional, spiritual, physical, and financial savior. Release that agreement. That's not our role. This is a partnership. This is a space where we are co-creating things. Because you know what happens when you show up in a relationship as their emotional, spiritual, physical, financial savior, rock, foundation, superwoman with a cape? Is that eventually they look back and say, look what you did to me. It puts you in a position and him in a position to not take responsibility for your actions. And he doesn't have to take responsibility for his actions. But that's what a lot of men expect. Yes, they do. But just because they expect it doesn't mean that we're going to do it. Sounds great. Most of these guys are not men. They are boys wrapped in adult flesh. Their expectations... What? Their expectations are none of our business. We need to explore that for next time, okay? I want to explore how a man's expectations ain't none of our business. I didn't come here for that. I didn't come here for that. I came here to be me. And you love me and you love what I bring to the table. And this is it. I'm telling you what I bring to the table. And I see your expectations over there. Hey. I'm learning about letting my guard down. I feel people judge you when you share your story, so I usually don't open up. But now I'm like, who cares? This is my truth and my journey. This is my truth and my journey. Okay? That deserved a hand clap for sure. Because when you can show up in your truth, it is so liberating. It is the most amount of freedom I have ever experienced is speaking my truth. And you know, there's some work that you can do around your throat chakra, your heart chakra, your solar plexus, and the energies that make us who we are and make up our inner beings, so that it's easier to speak your truth. Y'all, I have 15 seconds left. Thank you so much for being here. I love you all. You are the village. I appreciate you showing up every Thursday. If this served you, please share it with others. I have 5 seconds left. I love you guys. Click the link on my bio.